Do people ever ask if you're a virgin? 22M. I've worked at my current job for a little over 3 years. Most times when I get friendly with other young adult coworkers, men and women, eventually one day they'll ask me if I'm a virgin, and never because I brought it up. Are they asking me because they already think I am one? Or is this a regular question to have, even for regular people? For context, I am one. It's usually embarrassing for me to answer honestly. In some cases, people assumed I was one and asked to confirm. In other cases, people are surprised to learn that I am one and thought I was lying. So I have no idea if I'm giving off virgin vibes or anything. A longtime friend of mine said to me once that it's really easy to tell, but he may be biased or trying to bust my balls. And, obviously, I'm not some incel that is complaining about women all the time. So I am sure that is not the reason. But maybe it's normal even at 22 for your peers 18-24 to still ask that question? That's a really weird question to be asked by someone who isn't a teenager. Nope, never happened when I was that age. No, this is not a regular question and is wildly inappropriate in the workplace. No, that's some high school shit. I've never been asked as a young adult, only by close girlfriends in high school. No, but that's usually because I have multiple children attached to me at all times. No, I'm 55 and have a daughter. But even when I was young, PPL didn't ask. Turn it around on them. Pretend you think they want to date you. Ignore the virgin comment. Just say that you are flattered for their interest but you aren't looking to date coworkers. If the person is the same sex, you can add that you are straight. I'm 25 and have had a few random people ask that question. I'm not, but I think I may give off some kind of inexperience vibe or something. No. And this is wildly inappropriate for them to do. I'm concerned about the workplace culture that anyone finds that even remotely okay to ask. Only on job applications. 22M. And yes, I've been asked by co-workers. Definitely not an appropriate thing to talk about. But I work in a field where apparently morals aren't necessary. No. And not because I radiate raw sexual confidence either. Most grown-ass adults I know 22 is just barely adult. But still just don't, or even if curious, have the courtesy to mind their own fucking business. Most your coworkers are way out of line. I consider this question rude and invasive personally, especially from someone you don't even know. Well, but it's not uncommon. If you've never been in a romantic relationship and don't talk openly about sexual attraction, will get asked this question more often. I see a lot of people saying they've never been asked this. So maybe it's less common than I thought. I swear I've heard this question so often though. Even just from random co-workers and acquaintances. It wasn't directed at me a lot since I had a long-term BF as a teen. But I've heard it asked to others right in front of me. Are they asking me because they already think I am one? So I have no idea if I'm giving off virgin vibes. Yes. Yes, you do. I'm guessing you come off as shy and or awkward. I got this a lot when I joined the army. I also got this when I dated my ex who had a much higher body count than me. And didn't understand why I was reluctant to have sex with a woman I barely knew. I used to get this question a lot in my teens, early 20s. Yes, it is common, but that doesn't make it okay. Especially in the workplace. I have never gotten this question from anyone. The people in workplaces who inquire about virginity status are the cringe people who still care about it. I'm a virgin. I'm older than I'd like. Recently, one of my oldest friends asked me if I'd had sex yet. When I answered, no, They legit gave me the weirdest response. Like we were in high school and her brain couldn't process my life being different to hers in any form whatsoever. It hurt my feels. Honestly. But also in like a weird eye-rolly way where I don't want to talk to her as much. Was mostly girls that asked me that, but I never answered seriously. Pretty sure they knew and made fun of me for it. But like any other problem as a man, you can just drink alcohol until you forget them. Inappropriate. For what it's worth, this is not something you should ever have to discuss with anyone. And equally important, there is nothing shameful about being a virgin, so I hope you don't feel that way. I'm sad there's always been such a stigma around it. But I'm glad my husband was a virgin when we got married. So I hope you don't feel embarrassed about it. From my experience, Boomer generation is the one who has no clue about boundaries. Why are you single? Why do you live together and not marry? Are you dating? Are you pregnant? When will you get pregnant? Like, what kind of questions are that? Younger generations usually really know how to mind their own business. Maybe a person is picky or asexual or was hurt and doesn't even want to think or talk about sex. Luckily no. I also hate how some use pussy as a bragging trophy and bully those who get none. Honestly, it's insane that they're asking you this even one time, let alone multiple. Completely ridiculous behavior on their part. My son works for the same company, so I guess everyone figured I'm not. So it never comes up. I'm 23F. It's not normal, friend. It's really weird and inappropriate. If your friends are asking if you've had any penises inside you, they're probably trying to get their own inside you. Wildly inappropriate workplace question. But some industries are known for wildly inappropriate, unprofessional behavior, e.g. retail, restaurant industry, and a bunch of others. That doesn't make it acceptable. Just means it's far too common. When I was 19 and just coming out of my awkward high school shell, lost a lot of weight, and started making new friends at work, my assistant manager asked me in the context of a mutual female friend showing interest in me. I was clearly out of my depth, which prompted him to ask the question. For context, this guy is now one of my closest friends. And we were just becoming friends at this point. It was also a food service job where everybody was in college or around that age. And it was not a very professional setting. Edit: I got my age wrong. A Muslim coworker asked me if I was. I'm still shocked. Skull clapping hands. Medium light skin tone. I was maybe 18? If I would have said yes, I don't know what kind of response I would have had. Probably that I'm a sinner, lol. No. If they do, tell them it's none of their business. Emo: I think in younger age groups being thought of as shy virgin. Seemed that way growing up. Do you have confidence? IDK. Outside of what I noted above, the only time I hear virgin get thrown around is in gaming. Since I'm a nerdy guy, the first get asked that from time to time. Or people will say, I bet you are a virgin because of my hobbies. That's a weird, inappropriate question for people to ask if they are coworkers. That's a wildly inappropriate thing to ask at work. WTF. This really happens to you that often? That's so weird and invasive, lol. I definitely don't ask people about their virginity. Whoa. This is super uncalled for and intrusive of them. There's no shame in being a virgin. Virginity is a social construct. Regardless, you're under no obligation to answer that question. Never been asked that in 34 years. At uni, maybe. In a professional environment, never. Do you have a habit of talking about sex-related stuff yourself when you talk to other people? Like trying to sound more experienced than you really are? Those kind of things might make people think about whether or not you've ever actually had sex.